It's Cooking with Caermon. Yay! Once again, I'm going to share with you my cooking tips and secrets because I can. And I'm bored and got nothing else to do while I cook. All right, so let's take a look at what we got here. All right, the beef has been cooking now, slow cooking for about half an hour. And I just threw in some pieces of pepper. And I cut up some more pieces of pepper, and those are going to go in. So let's set the camera up so we can see things. Okay, there we go. That's better. And so let's see here. And then there, and then we can take and put in the rest of the pepper. Now I cut the pepper into big pieces because this is going to be cooking for a while, and I don't want them to disappear. Be careful where I set the fork. That's kind of hot. Set it too close to the heating element. All right, so and we stir this up. Now I've already added some garlic salt and some oregano leaves because I like these things in my food, and I'll probably add more before we're done. All right, so that was the orange pepper. We got that cut up. Now we're gonna cut up the green pepper. Can we see things? Yeah, we can see things. All right, good. So, I'm going to take this. This is the garbage pieces of that pepper. They can go in the garbage. And peel off the sticker. The Instacart shopper got some, these are a little softer than I would have liked if I picked them myself, but that's what happens when you rely on other people to do your job for you. Now don't get me wrong, I like Instacart. It saves me time and effort. Doesn't necessarily save me money. The fee that it would cost me to shop with Instacart is just a little bit more than it would cost me to take an Uber to the store and do the shopping myself. The big thing that it saves me is effort, because with my stamina being so low, thanks to the lack of red blood cells in my body, it really tires me out to go shopping. I go shopping and I come home and I'm fucking exhausted, and about the only thing that I can do at that point is put away the frozen goods so that they don't melt. There you go, and you know, and then I go take a nap. All right, so let's do this. All right, let's get rid of these seeds and whatnot. All right, and if you're scraping off with a knife, always use the back of the knife. That way you don't dull the edge of the front of the knife. All right, so, and there it is, the rest of the pepper. So then we got to get the bunch of seeds and stuff out of the middle. So we slice down there to the through the connecting tissue. Reach in, grab, do that, get some of those out, throw that in the bag that it came in, because that's going in the garbage anyway. Now, we're going to use about half of this, so we'll do this. Okay. And then we take the storage bag and we put the rest of the pepper in the storage bag. And I will probably, at some point here in the near future, before these peppers go bad, use them in some sort of salad. So, all right, so we're going to cut this up here. Cut. Slice, 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 slice. Now, when you're doing this, okay, the first thing you want to start to cook is always the meat, because you want to cook that as slow as possible, considering whatever your schedule is. I probably should have put the meat on a while ago, but I was too busy playing with my iTunes to do that, and arguing with people on Facebook, which is probably something I shouldn't do, but you know what? People on the internet are wrong. All right, so let's do that. Put that there. And again, scraping with the back of the knife. There we go. And we leave the cutting board there because we will be doing some more cutting here. In a minute, we'll be cutting up onions. All right. So, okay, you want the beef to start as soon as possible. Then throw in the peppers because peppers take longer to cook than everything except probably the beef. The beef. You want to know where's the beef? It's right here. All right, so we have the pepper junk. Take that. And take these and put them in the refrigerator. All right, and now we need an onion. And it just so happens that we have one. Yay! This was from an Instacart order from last week. And it's been sitting there because I didn't need it until now. Alright, so there. Okay, so the one thing I do is the first cuts I make on the onion, which I cut off the top and the bottom, I do that over the garbage can because I want to, yeah, see, onion peels, flaky, fall off. I try to get as much of that as possible over the garbage can. Okay. There, that. Sorry you guys can't really see this. You're probably seeing my butt, which, you know, I really don't have one. Okay. Alright, so that cut, and then cut here. Alright, and I need some light here. Let's see, there. And then peel the outer layer off. Now, you may be thinking, well, gee, Caermon, you're wasting a lot of that onion. And yes, I am. I'm not too worried about it for a couple of reasons. One being that I will probably end up throwing a portion of this onion away simply because I will not use it in time. It's just me here. And cooking for one is made difficult by the fact that in a lot of cases, especially when you're buying fresh ingredients, it's hard to buy fresh ingredients for just one person. So I'll use this onion here in the Beef Goop. That's the official name for what I'm cooking, by the way, is Beef Goop. And you know, and I may use it in sandwiches from time to time, depending on the kind of sandwich I make. But you know, in the end, this will probably a good portion of this onion will go back. All right, so again, we've got the storage bag. Come on, open up. There we go. No, dog, you're not getting a piece of onion. And let's get some air out of that if we can. All right, good. Storage bags. I highly recommend storage bags if you can get them. The cheap ones are just fine, like these store brand. Those are fine. And I use those in place of saran wrap to wrap things up and store them. All right. Okay. Since we were in there, we grab those. Let's take that. There. Yeah, good. And we take the fork. So. Alright. Now, if you were to poke the beef right now, you're going to find that the beef is kind of rubbery. And that's to be expected at this point. It hasn't been cooking for very long. You want, at the end, you want the beef to be soft and chewy. And that will happen if the beef slow cooks for long enough. All right, now the final ingredient here Mushrooms. I have Publix brand white pre-washed sliced mushrooms. All right, so we're going to open this up and take this and then pour some of these in here. We're not going to cut them or anything like that. That's probably more than I want. All right. Around into the thing, and now if we do this right, in the end we're going to have a nice melange of flavor. We'll have the peppers, the onions, the mushrooms, along with the beef, and you know, just to kick things up a little bit, throw some more oregano in there and some more garlic salt. Okay, and let's throw the lid on there. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to let that simmer for a while, checking on it and stirring it every once in a while, probably for the next hour or so. It's getting close to 8 o'clock here, so I'm not going to be eating much before 9. So, you know, that. But I'm used to eating late, and even if I eat late, it generally doesn't worry me so much. Because I used to have acid indigestion if I ate too close to bedtime, but these days, since I don't go to bed any time before midnight, I don't see that as being a problem if I'm eating around 9 o'clock. So we're trying to get the mushrooms all in the bag. There we go. Didn't spill one. And we'll take the bag and throw that in the refrigerator, along with throwing this garbage back in there. Okay, and that's it for now. We'll be back after this brief message so that we can go to the next phase. Oh, hi. It's you again. Well, since I got you here, I thought I would ask you to do me a favor. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go to patreon.com/Caermon and become a patron. Why would you want to do this, you ask? Well, a couple of reasons. One, you could be helping me to, you know, pull a little money in addition to the government stipend that I'm on because of my disability, which, you know, pays for the necessities, rent, utilities, a little bit of food for Bogart. That would be helpful. And also, you get something for it. You get access to my thrice weekly podcast, From the Fringe, which I've been told, I don't think anybody actually listens to it yet, which I really think they should, because if you really want to get to know me, the podcast is one way of doing that. Also, it gives you my views on things like politics, the media, popular entertainment, TV shows, movies, books, music, that type of thing. And, you know, also with little personal tidbits here and there about me. So go ahead and go on to patreon.com/Caermon. The URL should be on the screen here by the time I finish working on this. And go ahead and become a patron. For as little as $5 a month, you could have access to these podcasts, and which you will see that I generally don't whine. Yeah, and now back to our show. Okay, and we're back. Bogart's excited about that, aren't you, buddy? Yeah, he's excited that we're back. Okay, so it's been meat's been simmering not quite an hour. Yeah, okay, maybe an hour. I've stirred it a couple of times. Let's see if we can set this up so that you can see what's going on without it falling over. All right, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we've stirred it a few times, and we're stirring it again. It's getting softer. The meat is, so you can easily stab it with a fork. It doesn't have that rubbery feel anymore. Almost soft enough for us. So what are we going to do now? We are going to go up here to the cupboard, and we're going to get Uncle Ben's boil and bag rice. And you're wondering, well, why do you use the boil and bag rice, Caermon? Why don't you use real rice? Here we go. Why don't you use real rice? Wouldn't it be better? Well, it might be better. But hey, again, single guy, often cooking just for himself, and I'm not going to take the time, and I don't want to take the time to actually boil the rice and do all that stuff. And if I do it wrong, the rice is fucked, and I'm not going to take that chance. Sorry, getting a crick on my neck. All right, so I need my 2-quart saucepan. Dog, you need to move. Get out of Daddy's way. Is that 2 quarts? You know what? We're gonna get this one. That's a little bigger. Okay. And we're gonna put some water in there. La la la. Lovely view of the stove that you guys have, isn't there? Yeah. And you can, take it in and, love the stove. Okay, there we go. We got the water. Now, we use cold water for this. Why? Because cold water actually boils faster than hot water. There is an actual scientific reason for that, but I'm not sure what it is right now. I actually, I think it was the Skeptic's Guide podcast that finally convinced me of that. Okay, so, all right, so I need to boil the water first. So we're gonna let the water boil, and while we wait for that, we're gonna cut to commercial. So we'll be back after this brief commercial announcement. Oh, hey, it's you again. Glad you're here. I wanted to ask you something. Did you know that if you were a patron of my podcast at patreon.com/Caermon, that you could right now be listening to the podcast that I dropped today? The one that I spent so much time and effort crafting, that I really want you to listen to it. Hell, even if you don't listen to it for the content, listen to it for the craftsmanship that's gone into that podcast, because it is a well-crafted podcast. But beyond the craftsmanship, if you do want to listen to it for the content, you will get my views on politics, my views on the media, my views on that stuff that comes out of Hollywood entertainment. Thank you. You need to remind me of these things, dog. My views on all that, plus interesting tidbits about what's going on in my life. Okay, maybe I'll tell you what this bandage is for, huh? You never know. So go ahead, go to patreon.com/Caermon and listen, and so that you can sign up for as little as $5 a month and listen to the thrice weekly podcasts as they happen, or as they're dropped, because I don't really know how to do a live show just yet. I'll get to that at some point. So go ahead, do that. Patreon.com/Caermon. That's patreon.com/Caermon. You want to listen to the podcasts when they drop. If you wait 3 days, you're going to miss some stuff, and then you'll be sad. And isn't there enough sadness in the world? Welcome back. All right, so we've got boiling water. We'll let that continue to boil. No harm in that. We'll stir the goop one more time. All right. Yeah, that beef is getting nice and tender. All right. And we're going to put, we're going to put the rice in here, and we're going to put it in there for 10 to 12 minutes. All right, so the clock here says 8:12, which means it's actually 9:12. So when the clock reaches 8:22, we'll pull that out. In the meantime, we're going to take our next step. And we've got we have all sorts of choices here. Okay, so today's choice is going to be onion gravy. How's that, huh? And you're asking, well, Caermon, what the hell are you going to do with gravy? You got the stuff simmering. We're going to add the gravy to the goop in order to thicken it up a bit and give it a little more flavor. Now, our choices often go, you know, are what we managed to pick up at the store. So, you know, in this case, we got onion. Sometimes we get the regular brown gravy. Sometimes we get the mushroom gravy, which I think is my actual favorite, is the mushroom. But we don't have that currently, so we go with what we've got. All right, so we'll take the lid off that. We'll put it in there for the moment, and then we add the gravy mix. Spread that around some. Make sure we get it all. I prefer the McCormick brand gravies. They seem to taste better. Over there on the shelf, I've got a couple of Publix brand brown gravies. But like I said, we decided to go with the onion. And we put 1 cup of cold water in there. Now that helps cool things down. And that way it takes longer to get back up to heat. And then we go through and we mix it up, and we mix it up, and we mix it up. There we go. And then we put the lid back on. And what did we say, 8:22 by the clock? So it's 8:14 now. All right, so we'll do that. Okay. Serving it. All right, well, we'll get to serving it here in a minute, but we got some time to kill. So we'll do that, and we'll be back. Well, I'm not going to cut the commercial. I'm just going to cut, and we'll come right back. Okay, we're back. I want to change the angle on the camera a little bit so that you guys can see everything that's happening here. Here, we need this. Yeah, cleaning out the sugar container here. We'll finish that up later on. So we'll start running some water because we're going to do a thing with some stuff. All right. Notice I've turned the heat off. The one thing, I prefer gas heating for my stove. I don't like the electric heating because it takes a while to warm up and it takes a really long time to cool down. With gas, it's on, it's off. All right, so stir this up a little bit. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to leave the lid off for now so that we can let some of the water boil off as it does. It's fairly boiling right now, but it will boil. All right, now the only problem with these boiling bag rices is getting them up. They have a little hole in the top so that you can hook the thing and pull it out, but often that's hard to find. All right, so that's got to be the bottom. That's got to be the top. It looks like the little hooky hole got torn somehow, so where is that? No, that's the bottom. Yeah, okay. Problems with Caermon cooking. Um, there we go. Is that it? All right. So I should, yeah, there we go. All right. So we're going to empty that. Put that over here. You can turn that off. Just leave it on for the moment. One of the things that I like to do is I like to throw the dishes in the sink as I'm cooking. The reason I do, and I put water in them, and I don't leave them for very long. You know, seldom are they in here for 24 hours even before I wash them. But I put the water in them so that they, so they can soak. And if there's anything in there that would, if there's anything in there that would be hard to get off afterwards, then we can deal with that. All right, so that seems to be safe to hold. Yes, we are going to put the rice directly in the goop. Why are we doing that? Well, for one thing, it saves on the whole. Don't do that. It saves on the whole dishing it out, right? Because instead of putting rice on the plate or in the bowl, I'm going to use a bowl for this, by the way. Instead of doing that, it's all in one thing. Now, I used to do this. I used to make this with mashed potatoes, and obviously I wouldn't put the mashed potatoes in the in with the goop. I would put the goop on top of the mashed potatoes once the mashed potato, once everything was cooked. There's my fork. But because of my kidney issues, I can't eat mashed potatoes, especially the instant mashed potatoes. Now they tell me that I can eat potatoes if I soak them for a day beforehand. Just put them in a, peel them, maybe slice them up, throw them in a pot of cold water for a day, and then drain the cold water out. Because apparently that leaches the potassium from the potatoes. And potassium is the issue. Potassium is the reason why I went to the hospital last year. Because my potassium got so high, even while I was on the peritoneal dialysis, my potassium got so high that I couldn't breathe, and so I went to the hospital, and that was a whole mess. So we're trying to avoid that. Now the good news is that every week I get, when they hook me up to the machine, I get blood drawn, and they test for things like potassium and whatnot. So that's good, right? They're testing for the potassium, and they tell me if it's getting high or not. So I haven't had a recurrence of that issue because I've really started to watch what I eat. I can't have potatoes. I can't have tomatoes. What else can't I have? I really need to watch how much milk I drink or dairy products I intake. I still am able to drink milk. I have it with my cereal whenever I can. It's a nice writing. I can understand why he's up. I have it with my cereal when I can. I put cheese on sandwiches and hamburgers and whatnot. But I'm not eating a block of cheddar every day or drinking half a gallon of milk every day. So yeah, that's all right. Okay, that's starting to simmer. How is? All right, so we're going to turn that up a bit. We're going to turn that up to 5. It was on 3.5 before, and let that go. Let's put this away. Put it back up here next to the cornflake crumbs that I bought and will probably never use. Can you see me? I guess. So, we got that going for us, which is nice. So yeah, I have to watch what I eat. I really don't like it. I used to cook a lot of pasta and use a lot of tomato sauce. When I did that, I was not one of these people that, when I would make ziti or spaghetti, would, barely coat the noodles with the sauce. The noodles were swimming in the sauce by the time I was done. But that was one of the problems. That was one of the reasons why my potassium went up. It's because I was doing a lot of that. So I can't do that anymore. I can't make tomato sauce. I can't make pasta with tomato sauce. And yeah, I can do Alfredo. I can do the white sauce. I don't like it as much. Every once in a while, it's a good thing. And I'll be quite honest, most of the frozen dinners that I get are Alfredo of some kind. Because that's a problem with the frozen dinners. There's a lot that have tomato sauce based recipes. And there are a lot that use potatoes as a filler because potatoes are cheap. A lot of the soups that I have on my shelf, I can't eat anymore because they're potato based. Like the beef and potato soups and things like that have a lot of potato in them. So because I'm a big fan of the chunky soups, love me some chunky soups, but I really can't eat them because they are based, they have a lot of potatoes in them. All right, so it's starting to simmer some more. This is a good thing. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a test. Like I said, we're putting this in a bowl. Oh, that's still a little too warm. Where's my big spoony thing? Here we are. One big spoony thing, because we're going to need that. But right now, we're going to take the fork. We're going to fork us a chunk of beef. That looks like a good one. Oh yes, that's pretty tender. Okay, yeah, good. All right, so this is how we test the thing. I generally take the beef, put it in a bowl or the plate or whatever. Oh my God, I didn't even need to cut it. It just fell apart. We blow on it. Why do we do that? Because otherwise it'd be too hot. So, you know, just like your baby's squashed peas, you blow on it before you stuff the spoon in his mouth. Oh, sweet mother of mercy. All right, that's good. We're gonna turn off the heat. We're gonna dish ourselves up some. Now, in a lot of cases, when I cook this with the rice, there's more of a rice per other ingredient volume. In this case, apparently, I put in too much of the other ingredients, so the rice doesn't thicken it up as much as you would think. All right, be careful. Don't put the spoon or the spoon handle on the hot area of the stove. All right, so here we are. Caermon's Beef Goop with onions, peppers, mushrooms, and rice. So that's it. I'm going to go sit and eat and find something to watch on Hulu or Amazon. I think there's a couple of good shows coming on Amazon, which, you know, maybe I'll watch those and those will show up next in my podcast. All right, y'all be cool.
Everybody be cool. You be cool.